we're reading this really well-written article by Mary Roach, and the first thing I want to remind us is that this is a living author. She's a well-respected science writer, and like my wife, who makes a living as a writer and editor, she's out there pitching pieces, publishing pieces. We guess that she's made a month's worth of money from doing this topic. We used two note-taking strategies in class today, and I want to review them. And I'm going to share some of my notes, and I'll take a picture and put it on Google Classroom. But we used what I call the SOAPStones method, and I use this with my SAT class as well. The SOAPStones acronym refers to speaker, occasion, audience, purpose, subject, and then tone words. SOAPStone. Soaps or SOAPStone, however you want to think of the acronym to remember this. When you approach an article, first think of who the speaker is. I'm bad with names, but we went over it. Mary Roach. Who is she? Can you think of some positive phrases to describe her? A travel writer, a science writer, a lady studying this tribe, a lady struggling to eat the food there. You know, come up with that phrase. What's the occasion? The time and place? Well, it's probably in the late 90s, early 2000s when she did this. She's going to visit Paul Rosen. Dr. Paul Rosen is a well-respected anthropologist. He is still publishing work. If you search him on Google, you will see science research and college works publishing right now from his work. So this is kind of exciting that you're reading living work right now in the science field. What is Paul Rosen's specialty? Studying the remote tribe of the Achura in the Amazon of the Ecuador. Who's the audience for this piece? You, me, basically educated adults, ones with an interest in science, and then those who have a interest in nutrition. The purpose. We went over different purposes in class, and we can start with infinitive phrase statements. Is the purpose to entertain, to tell a story, to sell a product, to persuade, to make an argument about science? Some of those are kind of linked, but I argue there's more than one purpose to this. She's to telling a story to entertain us, but also to persuade us to have a thought about nutrition. The subject is about food and culture. Tone words we thought of together with a lot of my help. Tone is a very junior year goal, but the author's opinion inferred from the piece is she's very analytical in her tone. She makes fun of herself. Here's a fancy word, self-deprecating. I use that in my classroom a lot. I make fun of myself. A self-deprecating tone. She makes fun of herself. She's got a humorous tone. Here, let me cite an example. What is that rodent's knee doing? It's genuflecting in the soup bowl that she's got to eat. She's very descriptive in her imagery. That is very reflective and respectful. So my tone words: respectful, reflective, humorous, self-deprecating, and analytical. We practiced writing a summary on a paragraph. Let me share my summary again. Roach, a science journalist, is writing an article about John Patton's research of the Achura, a remote tribe in Ecuador. How long is she there? 5 days. Let me share a golden line, a quote that I wrote down in my notes that I just can't wait to talk about when we next discuss the essay. There's a big difference, a yawning canyon difference of eating something once versus living on it. Isn't that true? Taking a taste of a food, even if it's gross. You like Cheez-Its? It's this this reduced fat stuff that came in from the... Anyways, tasting something once is much different than living on it. Here's our second note-taking strategy we used after the SOAPStone method. We did a flow map. And I gave you prior knowledge about the article. You can break it down into 4 chunks. You have a very nice, complicated intro. It's not a 1-paragraph intro. It's a whole 1.5-page intro. And it gets you then into the story. That intro basically determines the whole SOAPStones. Then shifts into the story. The story is 3 parts. First part we read together. She's got to eat the soup, and it's not tasty, and it's got a dead rodent. It's floating in it. It shifts into now the next thing that they get for food, a alcoholic drink. And why is it gross? Yum. Last but not least, your conclusion. Your conclusion really sets the purpose more specifically. What does she do to get out of drinking that gross drink that I just visualized for you? Enjoy the article I can't wait to talk about it with you later. Take some notes. Find a golden line that you like, that you think is just great writing from Mary Roach, that you want to talk about in our next class. We're going to work on how do writers use text evidence and quotes in their own writing.